We see now in Atlanta what's going on in Atlanta. We see Gunna, we see, I think, Young Thug, the YSL, and they're using their actual lyrics in the RICO, in the statute. You wrote, "This is real life to me." How much should they be allowed? Because in California, Governor Newsom said, "Nah, we're not going to use lyrics against people."
And you know what? I agree with not using lyrics against people, because a lot of times, most of the stuff that a lot of rappers are talking about ain't true. It's this fantasy world of being a gangster, or this fantasy world of being the OG.
Studio gangsters.
Studio gangsters, right? So, which is cool, because movies do the same thing. They fit real life, right? You kill somebody in a movie don't mean they can go and say, "Oh, you killed somebody, I'm charging you for murder." But the difference in a lot of these cases is that a lot of the information that's being released on these songs are information that's never been put to the public in an investigation. So how do you justify lyrics in an investigation that match a case almost to the T that is information that's never been released to the public? It's kind of hard to fight that. So to kind of confess your own crimes on a record is kind of stupid.
Yeah, it is a little ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
These charges that in Atlanta on Young Thug and the YSL, they seem very serious.
No, they're very serious.
And they won't get bond. They've tried to get bond, and they've been denied, I think, 3 or 4 times. Thug and Gunna. You think they're going away for a while?
Man, I pray that they never have to deal with that kind of experience. But the worst part of me is saying that they probably going to utilize them and use them as an example. That's what scares me, because I'm sure they probably did. I mean, ain't nobody angels. Everybody gonna go through what they go through. But I think a lot of the issues that they're dealing with are more issues that might have stemmed from their past. That's being presentized. And of course, when you come from a past environment of that kind of life, as you get more successful, if you're smart, you will kind of detach yourself from it. But unfortunately, these kids kind of try to keep that environment close to them to justify and make real what they're saying on records. Like everything is about, okay, is he real? Okay, what's the question, and what is the definition of real? Is it that, okay, what you're saying on your record is something that you're actually doing in real life, or who you co-sign or co-signed by on record is actually around you when you're seen in public? So when you got these credible street guys that's out there standing next to somebody like a Young Thug or a Gunna, and these guys are still active, and obviously if you're active in the streets, that means you're still out there committing crimes, but yet you're with someone who might have been attached or involved in their life in the past, but they're still currently with you. You could easily be caught up in any kind of conspiracy, because you know that person. If it's a case on that person and they pull up a RICO, just you knowing the person, you tied in because of conspiracy. So you got to be a lot smarter than the average person to understand how much you have to lose by being attached to that environment. You got to be able to let that go.
What happened to, like, man, laying in bed at night and the situation, not because I come from a very impoverished situation, but when I laid in my bed at night, I was like, God, just give me an opportunity to get away from this.
Yes.
I can tell you about my story, but I didn't want to relive it. Okay, if you're trying to get out these streets, why do you care to go back once you made it to try to relive that and try to impress people? Man, I'm still hood.
Well, the problem is most of them never was.
Okay.
But when you got money, you can become what you never was. You can become what you always wanted to be. Because ain't no believe me, because our generation was different. We did it to get the hell up out of there.
For sure.
I ain't looked back since, and don't plan to, and don't give a You follow?
Yeah, I mean, they tell me all the time, oh, you had this, you had money all your life. No, I don't. I ain't finna slum it to prove to you. I'm not finna slum it again to prove to you that I came up hard.
Why?
Damn you. And people you're right. People try to relive a situation to try to prove to someone else, no, I really came from the streets. I really sold drugs. I really did this.
Like, why? Like, why would you even want to put that on your back? And are you actually proud of that?
Ain't something to be proud. You didn't know any better. You was trying to make ends, you was trying to get out of a situation, and things happen. But once you know better and you've made it, it shouldn't be a situation where you try to impress somebody and go back to that.
Thank you.
When you got locked up, what was going when you were in there? The actual inside the facility, they said there's one thing between your physical body being in prison and your mind being in prison. He says that's when you're lost, is when your mind is there. Your body was there. Clearly your mind wasn't there because you were thinking about something else. How did you pass the time? How did you get past that moment in your life?
I was thinking about how I was going to what I plan on doing when I get out. And it was in jail that I made my 10-year plan. I literally had a 10-year plan of where I want to be in the next 10 years.
Okay.
And at the top of my plan was I want to be able to work with Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
That was the top of my plan. And that was in a 10
Man, that was a hell of a plan. Now you incarcerated somebody. I would work with Mike. I would work with Mike. He just had the bigger, he the bigger mo.
He the big. And listen, I said if I work with Mike, I'd have made it. I'm good. God has blessed me. And sure enough, within 5 years of that plan, I had already reached it. And I think that's what drove me to philanthropy quicker, because once I reached that goal in 5 years, I was like, man, God gave me everything I ever wanted to do.
Right.
Like, what do I do now? I don't want to just be known for singing and dancing. I want to be able to be an impact. I want to be able to, you know, when I rub or I'm attached to anybody, their name or their situation is upgraded better. Like, I want to be able to make lives better. Just by God giving me the position to be in a position to help other people.
You're sitting on your cot and you said, I want to work with Michael Jackson. Did you always know what you wanted to do from that moment on? You're like, you know what, Lord, if you get me out of this situation, I promise you, I will never, ever come back. I will never, ever ask you to do me another favor again.
That was my exact words, too. I said, Lord, I won't steal a piece of bubble gum. Just get me out of this situation, and I promise you. And I kept my word, and my life has been amazing ever since.
You know what to do. Hit the subscribe button and become an official member of Club Shay Shay, where we do something before two something.